Hello everyone, welcome back. So in our webdriverIO series, today we are going to see what is GitHub Actions, how to set up the GitHub Actions, and then we will run a webdriverIO test using the GitHub Actions. Okay. Now let's first understand what is GitHub Action. Now a simple definition here, it says GitHub Actions is a continuous integration or delivery, the CI/CD platform that allows us to automate the build, test and deployment pipelines. In this sense, like what you are doing in your local, right? Like you are setting up your npm or the node, and then you are installing Java, or like doing certain things that to build your code, right? And then you are running the test by using some command. Now the same thing you can, by using some kind of syntaxes, you can perform that by using the GitHub Actions. And then you don't need to worry about your system. Actually, you can use the GitHub as a platform, and then you redirect the GitHub to do certain job, and then it does that. Like for an instance, a simple workflow actually we will be seeing today, where we will be taking a kind of an image also, because as I said, I don't want to do this GitHub Actions or that task on my system only. Let's say I want to do into the GitHub itself. Now GitHub provides those those images, like the Windows, Mac or the Linux virtual images. By using that, you can pick up the image and then you can install the node into that, which is used to run your command, right, to run the test. And then you can even take this test, actually this particular project, into that particular image and then try to run the command. Like here we are running, right, npm run wdio. Now this is pretty similar to your Jenkins, but in Jenkins what exactly happens is that you need to specify a system, actually, because Jenkins don't have its own image, but GitHub actually takes care of the image or the system where you will be performing all these things, along with the commands and along with a platform where you can sequentially mention what are the different tasks it can perform. That is what it is becoming more popular these days. So that is what we wanted to see. Now for this, you really don't need a lot of things. You have to create an account into the GitHub, and I would recommend to each one of you who are into this particular software industry, they need to create a GitHub account, because you might have created a certain framework or some practicing. So better to keep your code base into the GitHub, so that the GitHub Actions can directly pick up your code from there and then do all these jobs for you actually there. Okay, now to use this particular GitHub action into your webdriverIO, right, we need certain commands or the syntaxes. Okay, now those syntaxes are provided by webdriverIO itself. Let's get into the documentation. Now here you can see, by using the GitHub Actions, you can run the test when there is a push change. Let's say that you are working in a collaborated team, actually. Now someone pushes some code, you can run that to make sure that there are no errors and then the test is working fine. Or let's say that somebody is doing some merge request now at that moment. Now GitHub Actions not just automates that, but also triggers based on certain conditions. Those things also we can specify there. Okay. And now if you see that the basic structure, the syntax is something like this actually. Now we can directly copy paste this and do certain changes to fit with our requirement. And it says that if you are using GitHub, you have to create a directory like .github workflows ci yml. Now I will be copying this one and I will go to my the project, into the local project actually. Now and then I will be creating a new file, and in this I will be specifying this path actually. And you can see .github is my directory, under that workflows is a folder, ci.yml. Now yml is the file where I will be performing all the syntaxes or the step-by-step task that I will be specifying. You can give any name actually here. Instead of ci, you can say that webdriverIO ci or something, some name you can give. Now let me copy paste this syntax. Now this particular session is not about to understand what are the syntaxes. You can see, you can get a lot of different the Google knowledge articles about how to use the YML file, you will get it. But just one thing there, we need to understand that there are certain commands that we need to make sure that we should follow that, and proper indentation, like you are doing that right in the coding. The same thing here also, the indentions we need to specify. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is that I will specify. Now you can see that the workflow name is CI. On means when actually you want to trigger this one. Okay, so let's say that I want to trigger it when there is a push, like somebody is pushing a code change to the repository, or there is a pull request somebody have raised. At that moment I want to trigger this. Okay, now this is the condition. Jobs are nothing but like what are the different tasks that you want to do that. Now each job will have certain steps. Now the first thing is that you do the build. Okay, now in the build there is something called as runs on, like where you want to run it. Like as I said, you are not really using your local machine to do that. You will be using the GitHub itself. Now GitHub has its own server. They are maintaining like AWS containers. You can pull any of the image. Now they provide Mac, they provide Windows and Linux. I'm taking the Ubuntu latest, and then after that I need to perform certain steps. Now these steps are nothing but the individual task for this particular job, which will be performing on this particular image actually. Okay, now here I'm saying the first step is to check out. See, now these steps you can better understand to kind of understand the flow, what you exactly do manually. Think about, now I have given you this particular framework or the code base. What you will do, the first thing is that you will ask me, okay, where did you store it? Now I will say that it is into the GitHub. Now what you do, you pull that particular code, right, or you clone it. So that is nothing but you check out that. From where you are checking out? From the GitHub where you have stored these things. Now if you come back here, now in this particular repo I have kept all this code actually. So I have moved this code base into this GitHub account. So when I will be specifying here .github/workflow/ci.yml, it will check out from this particular repository only. So that is what this particular checkout will be doing that. Now there are certain plugins, we call it as plugins, or the your steps. You can go to the GitHub actions, and then there you will get all these names. For an instance, let's say that I want to see what are the different actions it is present. Now you can just directly search here into the Google, and you can see GitHub actions. So GitHub is specifying these GitHub actions, and there are a lot of different actions they have given. In that, actually one of the action that we have taken is the action checkout. So when you do that, you don't need to specifically enter the command git clone this path and then you create a branch and all those things. This particular command will be doing that for you. Okay, after that I want to install the node actually, because we need to install the node, right? Now I'm saying that when you want to install the node, these are nothing but like plugins only. Now here we can pass certain parameters. I'm saying that I want to use the node version as 18. See, when you install manually also, you go to nodejs.org and you go to the LTS version or something and you install into your machine, right? The same thing we are doing on this Ubuntu latest. It is just with the version you want to specify here. Okay, now what you need to do here, so setting up the node with this version and then you install that. Okay, so this particular action will be installing your node version 18. That's it. Now the second thing is that after we have checked out these things, right, the next step is to install. Install what? Actually I'm doing the npm install. Let's say you have manually again compare it. After you have installed the node, what you will do, all these package dependencies you will be installing into this project, right, where the node modules folder is generating. The same thing that here I'm specifying the same command npm install. So in this particular image under this repo, once it is the checked out is happening, means it will take a copy of this project into that image and then it will install all the dependencies. Then what it will do, then we have to run the command. Now what is the command we are running here? That is depending on the package.json. Every project has its own command, right? Now here I need to call this particular command. So I will be changing a bit. Now instead of test local, I will say npm run wdIO. Okay, so this is my command. Now after, it will take some time to run this particular test case based on the wdio conf, whatever the specs that I performed. After that, now there is something called as artifact. What is this artifact? Now this will be storing setting of your logs, HTML report and everything. Now again, it is another action or the plugin that the GitHub action is providing. I'm using that and I'm specifying a command actually. Now every action has certain parameters, like here I have taken as width. The same thing here also, there is a conditional. Now you might ask, how do I know that? Simply you search that into the GitHub. They will give all the actions or the methods or the ways that it is available for this particular actions. You can perform that. At this moment I'm saying if my test case is failed or passed, I don't care, but I want to use the artifact or I want to generate the report. Now with name logs, I'm not doing any kind of log here, but I want to take this particular allure result, allure report. I want to keep it as my artifact so that I can zip it and give to my manager or to the business so that they can understand that. So for this I will be doing a small change here. I'll just say that allure report, any name you can give here. Now I need to give the path. Now think about, this is your GitHub server. Okay, where exactly the report is generating? From the project directory reports/allure reports. That is what I need to specify, as simple as that. So I will say reports/allure report. Okay, allure report or report, right? So I'm specifying that. You will see that, you will get to know more once this GitHub action will be executed into the GitHub. That's it. There is no other things that you need to do. Now so this is in my different branch actually. I'm not keeping it into my main branch by intentionally I'm doing that. Now you see that because I have already connected to my Git, right? Now that's where actually I'm keeping here. Now this ci.yml file, I want to take it to my webdriverIO TypeScript because it isn't here. Like if you go to my practice, the branch, you see that that particular file is not yet present. But now if I commit this one, let's say I will give some commit name. I will say that add ci.yml file. Okay, and then I will be closing this, and now it is already committed. This is more into the Git, and I do sync changes. Now what this will do, this will pull the latest. If everything is fine, there is no conflict, it will push that changes into this actually. So like, let's see into this. Now you can see that the practice had a change, and now if I refresh this one, and you can see that the GitHub workflows is coming, and under this that the file is there which I have taken. Okay, fine. Now let me go into the actions. And if you see here, as soon as I added that particular YML file, right, you can see it is even executing automatically. We are not doing anything. How did that happen? Because we have given a condition here, right? If you see that, it says that on push. Now I have not specified which branch. Any branch, it doesn't matter. If anybody is pushing some changes to this particular repo, you run this particular GitHub action, and that is what actually it is doing into this. For the first time it will take some time because it has to do all these steps, right? Like if I come back into this, it should do like checking out this code base, it will install the node, then it will install all the dependencies, and then it will run the test case. That's why it is taking some time. And you see there is some issue it is happening. You can even see the errors also. Like if you go here, you see that setup job checking out means it already copied the project into the GitHub server, and then it even installed the node also, the version that I have specified there. npm install is also succeeded, there is no issue with that. But then test npm run wdio got an error. Let's see what is that. Okay, so normally the problem with this is that here actually the Chrome browser will not be opening on the GUI mode actually. So that is what actually the error is really, if you decipher that. So normally what happens, if you see into this code base, let's look into this. Let's go into this. And then if you go to the wdioconf.ts into the capabilities section here, if you see that here we are taking the browser name as Chrome, but we are running it in GUI mode. But your GitHub action doesn't accept the GUI mode. So you have to make sure that it is into the headless mode, and then you have to have certain parameters, and that is what I'm going to showcase that. I have these arguments already set here, like this Google Chrome options, you can have certain arguments attached to here. Okay, now here it is telling into the headless mode. It means that the Chrome UI will not be launching actually there. Disable GPU, some graphical whatever it is there, because it should have a less load on your GitHub image actually. And then disable the deb SHM usage. Now this is more into the virtual image, where it is telling that don't take the development hard disk size. So when you disable it, how much it is required, it will be picking up from your image actually. So you have these three options enabled actually for this Google Chrome options, and then you should be good with that. We'll try to see that what other errors are coming. Now if you see that there is another error it is coming, let me show you that. If you go down, you see couple of other errors it is coming. Okay, and if you see this, they are saying that like if you see into this particular blog, they're saying that the version that what we are using into this, right, the version 2 and here version 1 and here also version 1, so these things are already upgraded, so it is suggesting to upgrade that. Now whenever you search this right into this GitHub actions, so let's do this actually. Now you search it, and then if you come back here action/checkout, and you see it is the 2.5.0 is already present, and you can see checkout version 3 is already present, and they are saying that you can use this one, and all these are all the parameters that you can use along with the checkout. At this moment we are just taking the default task only. Now I'm keeping it a v3. I think all these things are v3 only, so I'm just going to change this. You can check later. By the time you see this, probably it might have a different. So I'm taking this. Now this will avoid these errors which we are getting into this GitHub actions. That's it. These are just the warnings. There is nothing to worry about that. Okay, now let's just make these two changes. Like I have changed here to headless, and then couple of things, version changes I've done. Now what I need to do, again I need to push these changes, right? You see that two changes came here, and this is one of the beauty of your Visual Studio Code. You can do it very UI specific. You don't need to really remember all the GitHub commands. I'm committing this one. It will stays and also commit both, and you have to give some commit message here, and let's say that I'm saying Chrome headless with GitHub actions. I'm just giving some name here. I'm saving it, and now the commit is done. Now I'm doing these sync changes. If there is, by the time I'm doing these sync changes, let's say somebody else would have added some stuff here, then you will get a conflict here. That's a different Git specific thing. You can just resolve that conflict, and then you can push that code. Okay, now you see that those things are already here, and there would be a new build here generated. Now you see that with the commit message, whichever I've given, that is appearing here. Now let's go inside this and let's see that, and now you can see that the test is now going. It means that there is, yep, you can see that running in Chrome into the headless. It means that now the Chrome setup is done. Now it is running my test case internally. You can't really see that. the test got failed. Now let's see what is the error again. Okay, so this is related to the Chrome version. Now see, Chrome was an error actually, GY. Now that we fixed. Now the next error is that it's saying that the Chrome version is 106, but the version that the service is giving. Now if you see that here, the service that we have specified, Selenium standalone, it gives the Chrome 107. That is the latest one it is taking actually as my Chrome driver. It means that I need to specify which Chrome version which Chrome version is installed in my image. Specific to that Chrome driver only you need to install. Okay, now I don't have access to update the Chrome version for this GitHub server, right? But I have the option to install the specific Chrome driver version. Remember when we were discussing about these services, we had an option into this where I can specify which version of the driver I want to install. If you don't remember, I will be specifying that here and you can recall that. And I will say here drivers, okay, colon, I will specify which driver I need, and that is the Chrome driver I need, and which version here. Now I can specify the version that it is looking for, and if you see into this error, it is asking this particular version. Okay, so I will just copy paste that, and here you have to give another array kind of thing. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, so you are just specifying that use the Selenium standalone, but download this particular Chrome driver actually into that GitHub image. Then it should run the test case actually. Now again, because we have changed this wdIO, I have to again push the changes. You have to continuously do that one by one error. So now let's add a comment, like let's say that add Chrome driver version. You can just give some name here, and then you click on this commit, stays everything, and then do the sync changes, and it should again trigger another build actually for you. Now let's go back and let's wait for some time or refresh it, and you can see that the same commit instantly it came actually. Now whatever the commit and push I'm doing, that is going to this particular repo, and the GitHub actions which I specified on push trigger, it is doing that. And now if you see that this time it is going very fast as compared to the first time. There is some issue again, it is coming. Let's see what is that issue. That the version that I have given here, right, into this version is not the correct one. Now I have that version in my mind, I will be keeping that, but then you can search if 119 is not there, 61 version is there into the online, you can check that. And here I'm giving a colon, a square bracket. I think that's where this particular path is not coming correct. If you see that by looking into this error, you can guess it. What it is telling, this particular URL is not existing, and you can see that there is a like square bracket is coming, and that is nothing but from here it was coming. Because see, whatever I'm specifying here, right, the webdriverIO is taking this as the URL to search it into the Google Chrome driver path actually. Now it should work fine, and I'm just changing syntax. Okay, I can just say that remove square bracket from Chrome version. I'm just giving some name, commit, and then it should do the sync changes. Don't worry about this, and then it should trigger a new build now. And you can see that a new commit came in, and then it should now find out that particular Chrome driver download URL properly. Let's wait and see. And you can see that this particular worker or the test case got executed, one test case got passed, 3 got skipped, and now it is doing the artifact upload functionality. And you can see everything is done, and then there is a green mark, and you can see that now the build report here that it is green. Now let's see where exactly this artifact got generated, and you can see that this LUR report is nothing but this folder actually. This particular reports under LUR result, LUR report. You can, and now there would be an index.html here. See, I cannot really keep that index.html as it is because there are a lot of dependencies are also there, the CSS or the images. That's why whomever you want to give this report, you can just click on this. It should download the zip file actually, and you can see this zip file, and I will click on this download, save it, and then when you open it, and you can see that this index.html, now I can open it into my Safari browser, which will give me the exact report which we were seeing. 3 test case got skipped, 1 got passed. So like this you can do that. Okay, now let's see one more thing in that I want to add. See, this is in my practice branch, right? Now I can even say that when it is going to the main branch, or when I'm sending a pull request, at that moment also it should trigger it. Let's give it a try if the pull request is coming or not. And I will say that when the pull request is going to the main branch, that time only it should trigger it, like very branch specific. A simple change I will be doing here. Okay, so like this I'm saying. So what I'm saying, when anybody is pushing any code change and the branch is main or the master, depending on which branch you are using, then only it should trigger. Or if someone is generating a pull request, and if the pull request is to the main branch, then only you trigger this. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. Now I'm saving this one, and I will be push this change at this moment. Now I will say that change the actions to trigger on main. I'm just saying this one. Okay, I'm committing this code. Let's see what happens. And let me go to the practice branch, and you can see that it already came here. Okay, now let's see if it triggers the execution or not. And you see that the GitHub actions didn't trigger here. Why? The reason is that I have said that if I'm pushing the code to the main branch, then only it should trigger the GitHub actions. If not, it won't. But if I do this, like let's say that I will be telling compare and pull request. Let's say that, see, whenever in reality it's my practice is my local branch. Let's say I have pushed to the GitHub repo. Now I want to always merge with the main, so that the next person can pull the code from the main branch and do the stuff, right? Now I'm doing this compare and pull request. So now if you come back here, it's a simple create pull request, and you can see these are the different files that I've changed, and there is nothing much really it needs to be worried about. And I will just do a create pull request, and you can see that this pull request is generated. Now the other person, your manager or your lead, somebody can come back to here, and then they can come back here and check this one. Now you can see that this branch has no conflicts with the base branch. It means that it is safe to merge it. Approve that. Yeah, merge pull request here. Confirm the merge. And now the merge request is completed. Now whatever in my practice branch, right, that should be now going to the main branch. And you can see before in the main branch, this workflow was not there, but now it is appearing. And because I've given the condition that anyone is sending a PR to your main branch, it should trigger the GitHub action. And I would expect the trigger should be here. And you can see that. Okay, now come back here. And it ran so fast, and you can see everything is done actually here. If you go back to the test, it should have been executed, and you can see the spec reporter which we have seen into the console when we were running into the local, the same thing is appearing here. You see this artifact, this is from the main branch. The recent execution is done. Now you can just zip this, or you can download and send it to someone. So hope this session is helpful. I'll try to do some kind of experiment where instead of executing in this particular Ubuntu, right, like you can even trigger this, like as I was telling you guys, you always need not to run this test case in your, in this particular image only. Okay, you can even trigger like this particular npm run wdIO. You can run it into the Jenkins. You can even redirect it to the browser stack, any kind of cloud provider. You can do that. You just need to redirect this command to that particular cloud solution. We'll see some of these options in our upcoming sessions. So stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.